I am the Judas Resurrection.
Rest in peace, SS Edmund Fitzgerald. I know yesterday was November 10th, 2025, and we were supposed to be focused on the 250th Marine birthday, and I wished Marines yesterday happy birthday. But sometimes it gets forgotten that the birthday of the Marines 250 years ago, well, the Edmund Fitzgerald sank and took 29 of our men, I say our men, with it 50 years ago, yesterday, November 10th. I don't know how I missed it. Just watched something about the Edmund Fitzgerald, and I'm not going to tell a whole big story about it. I will tell you that there was a guy from our town of Gaylord. Well, I don't know if he was ever from our town of Gaylord now because I looked it up. But there were a couple of Haskey kids down the road that were the stepkids of Al Demney and Betty. Betty. And their last name, they went by Haskey. Everybody does that in Gaylord. They shorten up names. Harlikevich has become Harley's and things like that. Makarevich has become markers. They cut down people's name. Dave. They do that. So Haskey, Steve Haskey, who became my oldest brother's friend, they were friends in about 1980. I had heard that his dad had died on the Edmund Fitzgerald. That's the story that goes around. And I looked at the list of names, those 29 men that went down in Superior and Lake Gitche-Gumee, and there's a Russell Haskell. He's from Milford, Ohio, but I'm like, that might have been the Haskey we're talking about. And so there's something there. But if he was from Milford, Ohio, was he ever in Gaylord? When the Edmund Fitzgerald sank in 1975, that would have given Betty 5 years to get to the point where I knew who they were because of my brother becoming friends with them. Did they just move down the street? Did Betty move that fast and got Al Demney? He was a guy that would be in the yard without his shirt on a lot, and he was very hirsute. He was covered in like fur, like a gorilla almost, and a bald head and glasses. If you saw him with his clothes on, he looked like somebody that would be a fucking easy take. But they take his shirt off, now you're dealing with a gorilla. I don't think he even really needed the glasses. So Betty went for him. And Betty, I suppose, was sly to begin with. So she married him to help her take care of the kids. She didn't want to work. She just wanted to bitch about what her kids' friends were up to. My dad once, she started yelling at my dad when he ran into her. She called, I think. Actually, I think she called the house. But it feels like it was a face-to-face confrontation because that's... my dad's got no problem either way. But she called and said my second brother, she'd just seen him pass their house on North Ohio Street, and there was another car coming, and they passed on opposite sides of the road and went, it must have been somebody my second brother knew, and they're just, and they switched sides. And so my dad says to her, yeah, well, you think your sons are so clean because she acted like they were pure. He says, what about last week, the other day, whenever it was, that your boy was out putting bleach on the road in front of our house so they could burn their tires off better. My boy would never do that. She says, this is Betty. And according to Steve, when he talked to my oldest brother, the one that used to love me, the one I don't know what to think. Her son Steve told my brother, yeah, my mom was really mad at me. He got in big trouble because, oh no, but Al's gonna say it. Aloysius, he's not screwing around. And it's interesting to me that someone's so willing to blame other people for something, probably blamed her own husband for dying on the Edmund Fitzgerald, but it didn't take her long to get somebody else to take care of her, did it? The Edmund Fitzgerald, that was 50 years ago yesterday. There were probably ex-Marines on that ship, but that had gotten out of active duty but became, guys on ships. So 250 years ago yesterday, these guys were born, and 50 years ago yesterday, Gitche Gumi took them back. In this thing I saw, they talked about how men that had operated in saltwater seas before, when they come into the Great Lakes, they say the fresh water is different. They say that salt water has rounder crests and fresh water has deeper troughs. It's more spiky in the crest. And so it's rah, rah, rah. And it's like, okay, you can talk about that. That may be true for the most part. But I fished Alaska, and look, I got pictures. I had to get a photo album. That's why it took me so long to tell you the story. I've got a pretty good idea where things are, but I fished Alaska in 93, summer of 93. There's me standing on a rock in Alaska. You might not recognize it. It doesn't matter. There's some bum lying on the ground in the middle of the day. That's on Kodiak Island. That's after I was done with the fishing. There are all kinds of short pictures in here. The trip all the way out across from Michigan to Seattle, where we got on the Pandad, which was the fishing vessel Pandad FS. Pandad, I guess, means a scavenger, which our skipper was, and he got us into trouble all the time. And I was his Gilligan. But there's a picture of an ocean. There's a picture coming into Sitka, Alaska, after taking inland waters from Seattle and hitting Vancouver Island already. So we didn't need bad weather to have a problem. We had the skipper. He died in a plane crash, according to D-Day. He found the news article. And if you don't believe I was doing it, look, there I am. We were baiting for a halibut opening at that point. I think it was around Barrows Point that we fished. And we were baiting. We were using squid. And you can't see it in the picture. But I'm you see, that's the ocean behind me. I'm sitting on the edge of the boat. We're just cutting squid. And I've got one of their squid feet, those 6 things, tentacles things, hanging off my chin like a beard. But so that's Providence. I was out there fishing last, and that's when it's calm. That's another peaceful picture, and that's a picture of the pilot house and everything else. I know if I were one of these people that is trying to make a living off a YouTube video, I would have images coming up and it would look professional. But I'm not professional. Nobody's paying me. I'm not even an expert acting as an artist. I'm just telling stories. But this is it, man. There are some dolphins that were swimming with our vessel. They like to play. There's another one that's under the water there, and there's one of those red skies at night, Sailor's Delight, or that might have been the morning. I remember I was driving the vessel the one morning when the sun came up. But the thing is, I'm here to argue that saltwater waves don't get high crests and try to kill you, because I was sleeping. I was off duty after we hit the island. The skipper taught us all to drive the boat, but I didn't pilot the boat. I did it most of the time, but I was sleeping. It was day, and I got waken up by the one guy that was on the crew. He was driving. He was a little guy. He didn't know anything. He'd never done anything any more than I had, but I'd figured out a few more things. I was pretty good at driving the boat. I kept us from fucking bottoming out on the sandbar. I did things that mattered. Doesn't make me cool. I'm just saying there's really no difference. No, I'm showing you the difference that can't be argued between me and the guy that got me. And he came up, he's waking me up, he's going, Archie, Judas. And I said, what? And the boat's going, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? He says, I need you. And he went running off. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm running up through the damn to the pilot house from the forecastle, and I'm going by the head, and I can see the port side windows on the side, and the boat's doing this, and I see through there, I see water, and it goes the other way. I see the sky, and it goes, there's water on the other, and there's stuff flying all over, settling tanks and everything. And I get up there, I'm like, what the fuck are you here waking me up 4 years? We're supposed to be driving this thing. And he's like, I cannot see. He couldn't read the fucking compass, which we were using a compass to get everywhere we went. I went across the fucking Pacific seas and got us to where we were going in a fucking storm, because he said, I cannot see. And I was like, I suspected it all this time. This fucker can't read. And he said, I don't have my glasses. I left my glasses at home. And I'm like, motherfucker. And I'm like, So I'm like, get out of here. And he didn't. He just stood there for a while, and then he fucking got out of there. We were in the sea, and there were these fucking crests that they're talking about in troughs. I wouldn't tell you how big they were, 15, 20 feet. I don't know. It seemed like we were making a lot of movement and slamming sideways quite a bit in this little fucking old Navy cutter, 70-footer, converted to a fucking fishing vessel. And that's the only reason we survived fucking hitting goddamn Vancouver Island head on when the skipper fell asleep. Because it's a Navy cutter, it took the hit. Of course, we got diesel in our drinking water, and our drinking water was full of rust and all this shit. They tried to kill us. It's not that easy to kill me, evidently. I've tried so many times. And so I plowed through that, and I need you to know it's just a natural way. People say, "Oh, that sounds scary." I wasn't scared. I wasn't concerned about anything. I was still mad because I had seasickness and shit like that. Rah, puking. I wasn't puking then because I was focused. But Skipper never showed up. He was passed out in his fucking bunk. Oh, what the fuck? So I know a little bit about what it's like to pilot a boat through a fucking storm in the middle Pacific. There's no land anywhere. All you see is water, water, water everywhere. Not a drop to drink. So I didn't mean to make this a story about me. I just wanted to share with you a tale that came across me back into my mind because of the anniversary of the what do you call it, sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald. And I also want to say rest in peace, Gordon Lightfoot. I saw you in Interlaken with Ward and his mom, and I guess I didn't realize you left us in 2023. I'm going to leave somebody to say a prayer for you. You're number 31. I don't know who number 30 is, but there's one person there that will take care of you all.
You are the Jewish resurrection.